You are listening to Ice Cream for Breakfast with your hosts Tara Chase and Kevin Hansen.
Welcome. Today's guest, we're so excited to have him with us, and he traveled for us. Well, I'll capture it thinking that you traveled for us to be on our show, but we have with
100%.
or 95%. Let's be real. So we'll have to get to your ribbon cutting event that you had today. I do want to hear about that. But Bryan Wright is with us from, well, why don't you tell us where you're from?
Sure. Some people think I'm from outer space.
Oh.
Some people think I'm a Pleiadian because I'm 6'5", and I'm also strange. But strange, yeah.
Maybe we should have done Stranger Things.
Well, so it sounds more fun to be from a place like where I'm a Pleiadian, but I'm actually from Hansen, Idaho, which is where I grew up. And then I started some companies out of Twin Falls, which is just right around the corner from Hansen. And so that's where I'm from. I drew this opportunity in my life, Valentine's Day of 2008. And it's just been this wild journey ever since. So today I got to drive up here to try some ice cream with you guys.
We're so excited.
Let's do it.
I think we're excited.
You ready?
Kevin went and got some ice cream, and we're going to introduce that to you first.
And you know, I'm a baseball guy.
Yes.
So there is a little bit of a baseball theme into the ice cream today.
Is it? Yeah, because isn't it spring trading right now?
No, the season's full going.
Is.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Gosh, I need to catch up with the Mariners.
You probably don't want to.
Really? Is it that bad? I need to check. I didn't follow them last year. Last year was a weird year.
Are you a Mariners fan?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
I'm all about the Dodgers.
But
So
I would
today,
also claim the Royals. Nobody wants to follow the Royals.
Why?
Oh, just a story from my past. Having a little kiddo that loves baseball, and he loved this jersey. And I'm like, we're going to follow the Royals when you were 3.
So today we're trying Baskin Robbins baseball nut.
Oh.
And what is in it? I don't have my glasses. Vanilla flavored ice cream and roasted cashews and raspberry swirls.
Wow. That's a lot. Okay.
When you say a lot,
I was trying to think of it as chocolate or something, but to even say a lot with the whole, this is what's inside. Of course, it has vanilla in it.
Maybe the raspberry swirl is supposed to look like the stitching on a ball.
Mm.
Oh, Kevin, you're so creative.
Guessing.
Actually, it kind of does.
Okay,
so are we cracking this open?
Yeah.
Just
salivating like
and
Pavlov's dogs.
we might have to take. I love that.
You can eat as little or as much as you want.
Okay, I'm gonna pass spoons.
Okay, here we go.
We might have to take a couple pictures because.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, see these. My guests on the show are much taller than me, so their wingspan is also a lot longer.
Are you talking today's guest or every guest?
I'm talking you guys today.
Okay.
No,
our first
some of
ice
our
cream was black vanilla and it had charcoal in it, so our teeth went black.
Oh my goodness, it was bad. I mean, okay,
so
ready?
here we go.
You
Dig
guys,
in.
let me see. Okay. And then I'll take.
Did you already take one?
I did take one.
Oh,
do you want to take? I'll take another one.
Okay, yeah.
But I'm curious if you guys are going to beat me to the taste.
Okay, no, I'll just hold it up for the moment.
Ready?
For the moment.
Okay. I'm going to do mine cheers with you. Okay, ready, everybody? Kevin, stick your cup out at least.
Kevin doesn't like pictures.
Okay, that's awesome. Thanks, Bryan. Okay,
We got
everybody, we'll send that out on the business page. This is very frozen.
Are we supposed to smell it and really just savor it?
It matches my coat today.
It does.
I feel like it's like cancer awareness.
There's a lot of raspberry. Tastes really good. Mm-hmm. It's creamier. I think some of the ones I've had were maybe not like mainstream brands, and so they were a little icy.
I have a profound review of this ice cream.
Tell us. Let's hear your. What is it? Do we need to type it into ChatGPT?
Yeah, it's yum.
Okay.
It's good.
Okay, last one.
It is really good. That was a good choice. Go Baskin Robbins.
High five on this one, guys.
It was on sale at Albertsons for $3.49 a little thingy.
Oh, you're gonna even
So,
give a pitch to Albertsons.
By the
Good
way,
idea.
I have about 5 of these in my freezer at the house because we eat them and then we put them in the freezer and I take them home and put them in the freezer. And I haven't eaten, so I'm on this carnivore thing. So this is kind of my
Not
sweet
me.
for the week.
I'm halfway tempted during this entire show just to keep eating.
Do it. Do it. I've got ice here.
You just keep on going. We'll have like the 7th inning stretch with this baseball nut ice cream.
Here we go. Thank you.
Okay.
That was delightful.
That was good.
I haven't. So people
Kevin,
were
can I
asking
pass
me
it to you?
at the ribbon cutting
Thank you.
just a second ago at the ribbon cutting that we had. And we had so many great people in Nampa.
Okay.
And they're like, okay, so Bryan, are you going to, talk to us? Oh, sure.
You might have some more.
You never know.
Set that on your lid. Okay.
Anyway.
Okay. And go ahead. Sorry, interrupted.
Oh, it's okay. They were asking me where I was going.
Okay.
I said, I got to get going. And they're like, where? And I'm like, I'm going to go be on a podcast with my new friend, Tara.
Yay.
And now my new friend, Kevin. But they said, well, what's the name of the podcast? And I said, it's Ice Cream for Breakfast. And everybody gathered around. They're like, what? We want to come?
We should have just had everyone come.
We should have. This
We'll
is
do
glorious.
a follow-up. We'll do a follow-up and we'll have everyone come.
You would love them.
I promise.
You would love them.
Really? Okay. I'm excited.
It was a party.
I would love to meet everyone. That'll be fun. So backwards, let's put the brakes on and go rewind for a second. Tell us what this ribbon cutting event was and why you're here.
Okay, so
Why
I
else
mentioned,
you're here for the 5% of the reason
yeah, I mean, the 5% was the ribbon cutting. The other 95 was
to come here.
to meet you guys. But so we opened our 21st clinic, a couple months ago, and we had the ribbon cutting for it in Nampa, Idaho. So it's Wright Physical Therapy. This is the company that I opened up in 2008, Valentine's Day.
Okay.
And it's kind of unique because on February 13th, 2008, this company that I had an association with out of Boise, they offered for me to buy the company. And they said, if you buy it, take it over tomorrow. So it just so happened that I bought that clinic from a guy that I knew very well. And today, when we were doing the ribbon cutting, I realized that this clinic is right next door to his facility. So it's just this full circle moment.
Wow.
After 17 years.
Yeah.
And so we have 21 clinics. We treat about 3,500 patient visits a week. And then that was the nice foundation for me to open some other things that I'm very passionate about. So I have a property holding company that I love so much. It's called Dry Thumb Properties, and it's been just a complete joy.
Say that slower. Dry thumb.
Dry thumb.
Like thumbs up. That's really cool.
Dry thumb. Yeah, it has
Okay.
to do with the Warren Buffett thing. He just said never suck your thumb on a good real estate deal. So if you don't suck your thumb, it's a dry thumb.
Hey, everybody. Did you just hear that? And you know that this girl's your real estate agent, your realtor at Homes of Idaho. Give me a call.
Never
And
suck
if
your
I
thumb.
need to give you some advice is don't suck your thumb on a good real estate deal. I'm using that. That is from Warren Buffett and my friend Brian.
So what was your background? Were you a therapist or did you?
Yeah, I graduated from a few different schools to get to the point of a doctorate of physical therapy. And so I started traditionally in physical therapy and was treating patients in low back, neck, shoulder, knees, hips, that kind of stuff. And over time, I just found that what I really loved was the aspect of magnifying all that. So that's when I built another clinic, and it just kind of just started taking off. See need, fill a need type stuff.
Was the first one in Hanson?
No, Hanson.
Oh.
Hanson's
have
the
one.
type of town where you grow up, and if you play in the pep band and you play football, you're going to be doing both at the game. You'll take your helmet off after warm-ups, go play the national anthem. Yes, sir. And then it's true. At the time it was embarrassing, but now I'm like, that was super cool that I got to go warm up, take my helmet off, go climb up into the stands, play the national anthem, and then go out and go crack some
And go
skulls.
play.
We called it, play, yeah.
Okay, at first I thought you were kidding. This is real.
Yeah.
Like you really
Real.
stopped the game or got your timeout.
It was just during warm-ups.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you had to play the national anthem to get a grade in the class. And there was not enough
Oh.
people. We didn't have enough people.
That's
to,
pressure.
This is like where I grew up. So how many were in your class?
I had, it was kind of a weed out process. We had 25 to start.
What?
And then we
23 in mine.
hold on.
Wait a second.
Hold on,
25 people?
hold on. So we had 25 to start, but by the end, we only had 21. So who wins?
Wow.
When they had 21 graduate when I graduated.
So did those other 4 move to the big city?
They didn't make it. They lived
How
to see
in the
another
world,
day.
you guys? I'm trying
But
to
it
think.
was
Like a teacher, you would know. I mean, I had
You know
classes
everything.
bigger than I had when I taught in the West Ada School District. I had 38 to 41 kids in a class, like in one careers class. Here's all my students. So that is bigger than your graduating class.
So
I can't even imagine.
It's the kind of town where you drive through it and you see
Blink.
like welcome to Hanson, and then when you turn around it says welcome to Hanson. It's so small.
Right.
Yeah.
I vote for Kevin Hansen to be the mayor of Hanson.
Yeah.
So in my school,
Kevin, that was a funny. I should have pushed the funny
the
button.
mayor, yeah, she likes the funny button on this.
Do it.
Here we go.
I like it too.
See, I'm so witty.
In our school,
Okay.
so my high school had 2 towns that went to the same school. So it was a little bit smaller even. There were 7 of us that went to grades through kindergarten through senior from our town. And I think there were 6 from the other town. So over half the class had been there, and we all knew each other for the entire time.
That is fascinating. Like, I cannot even imagine. I mean, I guess I moved a lot too. We talked about that once. As before I graduated from Bora High School, I had moved 13. I went to 13 schools. So I can't even imagine. I mean, I love the idea that I would know my whole class.
Yeah, it's actually
walking
it's a
down
lot,
the road.
It's a lot more than that. You know,
Yeah.
your whole class,
And their family,
their dog,
their
Yeah.
dog,
their cat.
what kind of ice cream they like.
Yes, you do.
How they tie their shoes in the rabbit ears or around their finger tie.
Yeah, I mean, the stories that you have with those people growing up are precious and not to be written down.
No,
Because
everybody will know it. Pass it down.
Yeah, right.
My best friend and I, we knew everyone's wave that drove the pickup. And there was the guy that had his hand and he would put his 1 finger up or 2, or he'd give you a little salute, and everybody had a wave. And you knew
Wow.
everybody's wave.
Wait, where did you grow up?
In Grandview, which is south of Mountain Home on
Okay.
the Snake River.
Okay.
Well, that's like the Jeep wave. I do that now. Does that count? If I drive my Jeep, I just do my 2 finger. Hey,
A true
saying
Jeep wave.
hi.
A true.
Is it 3?
Yeah.
Gosh, I've been.
Why is that?
It's like
a
a thing.
Jeep
It's a
thing.
culture
You'd
thing.
think
Just
it'd
do
be
it.
like
You have a Jeep too?
Volkswagen.
Yeah, I do.
too.
You do?
So let's wave.
So let's wave.
Yeah, there you go.
We
You
just did our Jeep wave.
You'd think that's like Volkswagen because you got the V and the W.
Well,
No,
Kevin, it's
it's-
also backwards J. If I do it like with my left hand.
And you got to hold onto the Jeep wheel when
You have
do
to
it.
hold it. See, that's why I can only usually get 2 because I got to get the grip. And now, by the way, DMV rules. Remember how we all learned it with 10 and 2? Did you learn that?
Oh yeah.
It's now 9 and 3. Yeah.
How am I going to remember
How
that?
how in
You
the
mean
world
9
did
and
we
3?
ever
It sounds like
surprise
you're driving a big wheel, like you're driving
a bus?
a big.
Here's me and my Jeep.
Yeah.
Did you ever have a suicide knob on your?
Suicide.
It's the
The
little
knob.
handle that would spin, and it was clamped to your, and you could just spin. It was like a little. It's like a door handle.
Where am I? Where am I?
It's-
I think
it's like
I'm
a-
in outer space now.
I think they're illegal now, but there was a door. It was like
There
a door
should be.
handle that was
Yeah.
attached to
Okay.
the
A
steering wheel,
doorknob.
and it would spin. And so,
What?
if you needed to turn, you just you just hang on to it.
What?
and-
This
yeah,
is-
Is that before power steering?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
I'm
maybe
sure.
that's why.
Yeah.
but
I
they
have
became
never heard of
illegal
such
I think
things.
you could break them or they'd break off, and then you're all. Now what do I do?
Wear your seatbelts, everybody. I don't know what's out there. Just wear your seatbelt. Okay. All right. We just go back. Okay. So ribbon cutting, 21 physical therapy offices.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge. That's like a monopoly.
It's this. It's
'Kay.
when I first started
Okay.
the company, my mother was well-meaning, but she said, "Do not open a business. You will never make it."
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she
okay.
said that to me, and
Okay.
I was like, I don't know. I trust my mom, but
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't sound right. She said, "The people that are competing against you, they're so good,
Mm.
and I love you, but just go work with them." You know.
She's worried
So-
about you. She had a worry button.
Yeah,
Her
I tried to
button
follow
was worry
my mama's advice, but I
Yeah.
decided not to follow it. And then we're like I would say, number whatever in the nation, number 5 with our partnership.
That's
So
impressive.
it's good. Yeah. So it's pretty cool stuff. And the best part of it is the people that we work with are literally like cream of the crop.
Really?
Yeah.
On purpose or by training, or they have to go
Both.
through a very serious, rigid
That's
interview
a
process?
great question. Both. So
Okay.
we decided that if it's going to be hard to get in, it'll be hard to get out. So we make it hard to get in.
Okay.
And it's just like, it's an energetic thing for the most part, but we have a process, but we have a program right now that I'm very, very happy with called Business Leader Apprenticeship Program.
Okay.
And we started that 3 weeks ago, and it's like a 28-week program, and the leaders get to come and we get to discuss some principles. Like the first one was upgrade yourself. The second one was you are the designer. Yesterday we did structural coupling, like you are like the people that you most associate with and the environments. So we talked about how can you change your environment and your kind of the way that you interact with people in order to really enhance your life.
So you guys
really good.
invest 6 months of training in a employee.
This is the mentorship. The
This is,
training
okay.
is before that.
Okay.
Yeah, so we train a lot.
Okay.
And the basic concept is, would you rather have a 12 calendar month in front of you of non-trained people producing, or do you want to take like 1 month out of, or like 1 day out of each month with trained people? Which calendar would you choose? And we always were like, let's choose the one that has less production but more train.
Okay.
So yeah.
Fantastic.
So
And go ahead, Kevin.
let me ask. So what did your parents do growing up?
They were school teachers. My dad taught in Murtaugh High School,
Yay.
and my mother taught at Hanson High School.
So so I grew up on a dairy, and everybody who I grew up with were cowboys, farmers, dairymen. That's what they did. I never wanted to be there. What was it? What was it that made you? Did you have a desire to teach?
Yeah, at first I did because my dad was a coach.
Yeah,
And
I was going to ask.
Yeah.
Is
he
there
was-
a coach involved?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I love sports.
Yeah.
In fact, my dad married my mom so that he could have a basketball player. That's what his story
That's what
is.
he says.
Well, he
I
married
married
my
your
mom
mom
not
so our
just for that,
children
but she's
could play.
She's 6'3".
Wow.
So he's like,
Okay.
this is perfect. I love
Okay.
her, and she's 6'3", so I'm going to have
Yes.
a basketball player.
How tall is your dad?
He's 6'2".
So they're the same height.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah. Okay.
And he was a baller. My dad could play.
Okay.
In fact, I almost beat him one day, and that's when he retired.
Oh,
He
he
says-
got worried.
He got worried. He said, I'm only going to have a perfect record. That's it.
The
So-
perfect record. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah,
Are your parents still alive?
Uh-huh.
Are they alive?
Yeah.
I hope they tune in. I hope they hear this.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
I remember playing my brother-in-law, and he was 10 years older than me. And the day I beat him, I never lost to him after that.
See?
It was getting over that hump, that 4-minute mile thing.
I was just telling that story yesterday. I could share a story. But
Yeah, do it.
Well, basketball.
Let's hear it.
Basketball. Utah State was one of the schools I went to, and we had 2 intramural teams I could play on. One had 10 players, one had 6. On the one team, I could have been the best player, and that would have been fun. On the other team, I was the worst player. So I had to make a choice. It was like a real dichotomy,
Yeah,
a real
okay.
dilemma.
Okay.
Well, I chose the team that had the better players, and I was going to be the worst player. And there was one game where I never at that point had dunked in a game before.
Okay.
And so we had all these players in the game on my team had dunked the ball, and they're all kind of staring at the last 2 of us who had not yet.
Staring or encouraging?
It was
This
a
is
bit of
the
staring.
game.
This was like
This is
intense.
it.
These guys are like, look,
If
we
we're
want the
gonna
whole
do
team to
this-
dunk it.
Yeah.
Well,
right.
the counterpart to me was our point guard. He was about 5'8", so I'm like, well, I can hide behind the fact that he didn't either. No, he ends up dunking the ball.
What?
So I'm
So
the
he's
last
got
man
hops.
standing at 6'5", and I'm like, I've never dunked the ball in the game. So I go and I'm like, I've got to do this. And so somebody shot a shot, and I just went for it. I went up in the air and I flushed it hard, and I was so excited that I dunked it like 3 more times in the game.
Wow.
It was like that clicking moment where
I know how to do
suddenly
this.
I know how to do it. Yeah.
That's so cool. I thought you were going to tell me some other tragedy that
No.
my hand got stuck in there and it's going back and forth.
Whoa, I've
And
got
my-
stories like that, but we're not telling those here.
And the rim came down, the backboard broke.
Well, there have been stories like that, but no, this was a fun one.
That is cool. Well, I like, first of all, the perseverance is join the team that I will be the least likely to be the star to get better at becoming better
Yeah.
So that's a great
Get around
story.
people that make you better. Iron sharpens iron.
That is a great analogy right there.
Just a little side question. Joey Johnson. Is
Yeah,
that
I know
name?
Joey Johnson.
Yeah, that was.
Guys, who's Joey Johnson?
Joey Johnson was
Fill me
like
in.
this world famous leaper out of CSI, the College of Southern Idaho.
Southern Idaho and Twin.
And he legend has it,
Okay.
which I would believe, but legend has it, his workout routine would be to take a penny, jump up in the air, put it on top of the backboard, on
Okay.
top, not the rim, the backboard,
Okay.
land, jump back up, take it off,
Wow.
which
Okay.
is pretty ridiculous for the
And a penny.
80s.
Like you think their hand, if they
Yeah.
can palm the men's size basketball to get that penny.
Yeah. So it's a ridiculous leaping ability. He was well known throughout the
For
nation
what?
for jumping out of the gym.
50
Jumping, what was his nickname? Jumping Joey Johnson?
Jumping Joey Johnson. His vertical leap was 53 inches.
That's right.
What?
Yeah.
That's
And
crazy.
I was doing a game on the radio with
Okay.
him playing, and he was free throw line extended back a little bit. His guy was shooting the free throw, hit the back of the rim, and just kind of hung up in the air. And he cut through the middle of the key, and everybody had boxed out to get the rebound. And he got up and grabbed it and dunked it, looking down into the basket. It was insane.
What?
That's.
Did he go
Yeah.
on to play beyond CSI?
I think he
He
did
played
go
at
on to
Arizona
play.
State.
Yeah,
I was going to say.
His older brother was a great NBA player.
Okay.
He never was as good as his brother,
Okay.
but he was a crazy athlete.
Obviously, you should do the high jump and the
He
hurdles.
did.
He did.
He
Okay.
did the high jump,
Okay.
and I think his first meet at CSI he went 7 something.
Yeah, like 7.
Never high jump before.
So really, he's probably a high jumping Olympian, and we're talking about his basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You jump
That's
high enough. Basketball, you can play that
impressive.
sport.
He could jump, and everybody could go up with him, and then they would go down, and he was still kind of
hanging.
up there.
Mm-hmm.
So if he could get close,
Wow, I got to
it
find
just-
some
it's
replays.
just- he's a legend.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in
Twin
in
Falls
college.
has some legendary stuff going
do.
on, like Evil
Jeez,
Knievel.
I'm gonna go. I do know Evil
Evel
Knievel,
Knievel.
and I can't watch that movie. Honestly, you guys, like that just makes me nauseous. I'm like, what are you doing? Like your life is on the line, literally. So I can't watch that movie, but
hear
I
ya.
know it happens over the canyon. So, and I love the canyon. I love that part of Twin Falls, just to go watch the
we were gonna
Niagara of the West.
we were gonna have some episodes about unique places in Idaho to go visit, and Twin Falls is always the one with the Evil Knievel jump site is always one that pops up on all the websites.
How did he die?
He hasn't
think he-
yet, I don't think.
I think he died of old age.
Oh, it was old age.
Did he?
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I
That
think
is
his son
incredible.
does some jumping
There
now.
you go. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, really?
But I think he probably broke, a million bones, and I've never broke a bone in my
Well,
body.
they say
so
it. Same with Babe Ruth. You gotta swing to hit home runs. We also have to swing to strike out.
So you didn't want to go into coaching, or you kind of thought about it?
Yeah,
See,
so
we're kind of random here. We kind
My-
of
we will never forget where we left off. It just
That's
takes us a while to get back.
impressive, Yeah. So I actually was riding home on my very last basketball game with my high school coach, and I'd been thinking what I wanted to do. Country songwriter, which is ridiculous. I don't have.
Nashville, come on.
I know
Go.
I would love to, but that was just an aspiration. It was not a talent. And then pediatrician, physical therapist, farmer, and a basketball coach, or football, basketball. And so we were riding home, and my coach is like, I want you to become a basketball coach. You need to be a basketball coach. Like life needs you in coaching.
Wow.
And so I was like, well, do you make much money?
No,
And he
at that
said
time
no.
it's $800 a season.
Yeah. And then right now it's really inflated to like $1,200. So it's
Yeah,
gone
it
up
might
a lot,
be.
yeah.
It might be a whole $1,250.
So I was like, yeah, I don't know about that. That sounds really appealing.
Right.
But I've got to make a living here, And so anyway, found out that you could volunteer as a coach and still have another career. So it worked out just fine. But coaching was not for me as a full-time career. And nor was country songwriter.
you still got time.
Well, maybe I'll do something.
Kevin doesn't like country music, but I love country
You
music.
don't?
No.
I am like a Nashville. I will go to
That
Nashville
surprises me.
any day. I love Nashville music.
Have you ever been to the Grand Ole Opry?
I have.
It's so
Yes, I
awesome.
saw Carrie Underwood there.
Oh.
And I
saw
saw a
Vince
couple.
Gill there.
Oh, you did. That would have been
Yes.
a good concert. It's so small.
and
Like
Shelley
I went in
Wright.
there, so small.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm like, where am I? I thought this was going to be some big, huge
Did you
theater.
get popcorn with M&Ms? Because that was the That was the stuff.
No.
Oh yeah, like popcorn and put some M&Ms in it at the Grand Ole Opry.
That's
special moment.
awesome.
Yeah.
I should just bring my ice cream and be like, hey, this is me. But that was a cool venue. And I took some of my students. I was a teacher and a coach, but I had interior design students competing in a national conference in Nashville. And I took them, and we ditched all the events that night. I'm like, we are going to the Grand Ole Opry. I will take you all to this concert. So and then we went 3 nights in a row. So it was so fun.
My second favorite steakhouse of all time is in Nashville.
Which is by
Kane Prime.
Kane Prime. Is
Kane
it out of Kane
Prime.
West? That would be, I wouldn't surprise me.
I don't know, but man.
Kane
What's the
Prime.
number one steakhouse?
Number one is
Caldwell.
it's called J Prime
Oh.
in Austin, Texas.
Oh,
For me, J Prime.
J Prime.
They had like sparklers going off in there. They had like, they gave you napkins and they like washed your face off and stuff.
Wow, the full 5-star treatment.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's 6-star there.
They made like a bananas Foster right in front of your face. Yeah, it's just the stuff that makes you feel like you're in a different world.
Wow.
Yeah.
You did say that at the beginning. I'm from a different world.
I think so. I've been
It's
told.
the one in Texas.
I have pointy ears too. So
Elf.
there's this. I'm like, did I really forget that I was from another planet? Because people tell me that I am, and I don't know if it's
6'5" and elf ears. By the way, I'm right here, everybody. It's not what you think. You would think Bryan is very normal, except for he is very tall when I met him at the door. So
So what was so you go to school and you're like, I'm going to be a physical therapist.
Yeah. Well, kind of. I got through undergraduate not knowing what I wanted, so I just kept my feet moving. And I remember going for pre-med, so I was thinking maybe pediatrician. And we had this moment where I had to leave class, and I asked the classmate if they would please take notes for me. And they said, man, this is a very, very tight competitive industry. You're going to have to get your own notes. And I was like, yeah, I'm not a big fan of scarcity. and of course, this was a sample size, right?
I'm totally laughing, going, how would I say that if I was I was the receiver of that question?
Yeah,
how would I take that?
I was like, well, I'll do it for you.
You're going to have to get your own notes.
Yeah, I was like, I would do it for you. But so then I was like, let me just rethink this. I know it was one sample size, so it's not like everybody could be looped into that. But something just snapped in my head where I'm like, no. Well, then I'm like, well, I don't know what I want to do. And my buddy's like, you should come to Idaho State University. And I said, okay. And do what? Well, I don't know, PT. And I'm like, well, that was one of my lists. So, well, I can't get into the class because PT school is very competitive. And I haven't even prepared myself. And he's like, look, I'll just go down and apply for you. So we went down to the school.
Are we listening to this? Wow.
It's funny because I've never retold the story. So I'm like, actually, that did happen. So,
I hope admissions is listening.
Yeah. Well,
everybody
it gets better.
needs to get a little more.
It gets better.
Okay.
So this is a highly competitive industry at the time. Like
it is.
you don't
It
get
still
into
is.
PT school without like blood,
Recommendations.
sweat, and tears, everything. Yeah.
Yep.
GRE, everything has to be just spot on.
Correct.
So he goes in, my buddy applies for me, which is good because I don't like to do paperwork at all. So he goes and does it for me, and he's like, I got it all handled. And so I call the admissions office. I'm like, how's the application looking? And they said, well, you can't be in the program. And I said, why? And they said, because you don't have a certain 5,000 level biology class. And I said, if I promise...
if I promise to take that class and get someone to take my notes, would you let me in?
Yeah, that's exactly how it went. Tara.
And I'll bring you some ice cream.
I said that too. I said, I'll get you some baseball nut. But I said, look, if I promise to take the 5,000 level class, but she said, listen, if you do it, you have to get a 98% or above in a 5,000 level class. And I was like, that's all? He's like, well, you have to interview too. And I said, well, I got that. I'll do the interview. No problem. But I have to get a 5,000 level. Would you what's the guy's name on Popeye? The guy's like, I'd gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today.
It's,
oh, yeah. This is like a step back in time, too.
Wimpy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like that. I was like, hey,
if you do this,
if you let
I'll
me
do
into
that.
the school, I'll give you a 5,000 level class
This
at 90%.
is called quid pro quo,
yeah,
everybody.
so then I went to my professor who I took the class from, which was an insect class. I had no interest in insects. So
Go
I was
figure,
like,
me neither.
I didn't.
Yeah.
And I was like, listen, it's not a matter of whether I do or not. It's a matter of how. So I just need to know what I have to do to get a 98. You just tell me. I'll do it. This isn't a matter of chance. I'm getting in the school. So he said, okay, well, this, and this. I ended up getting 105 in the class. I still don't know much about insects. I know a little bit more than I did.
We're talking like grasshoppers.
We're talking Lepidoptera, Hymenoptera, all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah.
Jerusalem crickets,
What?
all that good stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
But
this is a 5,000 level class on bugs.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah. So I got into school, and then I opened a
Wait. So wait. You got
there's a
in
lot.
with going in saying, I'm going to take this class.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay.
Well, she being the representative
Yes.
of the entire board that chose. And they're like, well, I mean, this guy seems to have his stuff together. So
He has a friend that had his stuff together.
well, they didn't know. They
Sure,
thought,
of course
"So it's
not.
fine."
Of course not.
So anyway, I get to the program,
Mm-hmm.
and by then I got this wild hair that maybe what I should do while I'm getting my doctorate degree is possibly open another business, and I'd never opened one before. So I opened a fitness center for women. It was called It Figures.
It figures.
Pause for effect. Yeah. I didn't name it.
I was just going to say it, and you
It.
said it's for females.
Yeah.
Females, it.
Yeah, It Figures.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. But
Did it even be? Yeah, I don't want to ask. Okay.
I mean, there's a lot to that story, but
Okay.
so everybody would go off to study hall, and I would go run the business with my family, right? That's what I did. And there, eventually people were like, this guy's not going to make it. He's not going to make it. So, so I ended up graduating, and I did just fine. When I got hooded, the guy that was the head of the program had been with us for 3 years, day in, day out. He hooded me, and he said, congratulations, Jeremiah. Just for everybody who's listening, my name is not Jeremiah. But it was a very... a pinnacle moment in my schooling career that he called me Jeremiah, and my name was Bryan. So 3 years together. And
he still missed your name. You're like, take me back to Hanson. They know my name at Hanson.
They know, everybody knows your name. They're just like a cheers.
So now I'm Jeremiah.
Jeremiah. So
Did you name one of your kids Jeremiah?
So it's
That
funny
would've been
because I would have probably been least likely to succeed, and now we're coming up on our 20th year reunion.
Wow.
And I'd be interested to see. I'm sure they'd still grant me as the least likely to succeed, but we've done well with 21 clinics.
I think that is proven that's a backwards thought that happened all
it
those
is.
years ago.
Yeah, I mean, don't let anybody put you down ever.
Yeah, good.
Because in the end, whatever it is that we use with our words, whether it's to ourselves or to other people, it creates, it doesn't describe. And I think that's vital to understand. Like what we say doesn't describe, it creates.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to say somebody's not going to succeed, it can bounce off them and hit you. It can bounce off of you and go to other people. So that's kind of a thing that I really strive for in my life, is to see the magnificence in others.
For the creativity to create something, not just let someone tell you.
I mean, you create all
limit.
the time.
I know.
And it's like, did I create this moment that's so unsavory right now? And it's like, you can make a case for it. You can make a case for it. Not everything.
There is something with creation. I think we're all born to do something and create something. And like you said, it's happening all the time. But I actually think we yearn to be creative. It is like something within us. So whether it's creating a masterpiece with someone that can bake, somebody that can paint, somebody that can run businesses, or somehow help people change themselves to see themselves better.
This has been such a deep theme lately for me.
Yes.
Is the faces of intention.
Faces of intention.
Faces of intention. It comes. The concept comes from a Wayne Dyer book called The Power of Intention. He points out 7 faces of intention that come from our Creator. Now, some people like to think the universe. Some people like to think God.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever you think, you were created from something, and that something has intention. And that intention, if you really, really understand it, it's love, creativity, beauty, unlimited abundance, receptivity, expansion, and there's another one. But
Magic.
Magic.
I'm just going to add that. I don't know.
Ice cream.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So
Faces of intention.
Yeah. So if you know that if you were created to create, and you're created to create beauty and love and expansion, right? So that's another thing. People are like, when's enough? When you go into 28, when you go into 35, it's like, well, I don't know. It's really not the number of clinics that dictates how we expand. But my Creator, I believe, created me to expand, not to contract.
Okay.
And so I will just keep, and I did a good job of that in my late 30s. I ate more than probably I exercised. So
I was like, expansion.
Yeah,
no,
but-
like your business,
Yeah,
your
you
model
expand.
business.
Yeah, you expand your knowledge. You expand your impact. You expand everything in life.
Mm-hmm.
You can expand anything: relationships, money,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is. So it wasn't too long ago that one of my close relatives had told me something that they had justified a way that they were doing things, and they said,
Okay.
"Look, what can I say? I'm a creature of habit."
Oh,
and
yeah.
I thought about that, and I was like, that's such an interesting thing that you said, creature of habit. So common. But what if instead you're a creator of habit instead of a creature of habit?
Right. We have more power.
Well,
than
like
we give
creature
us.
of habit is being acted upon,
Sure.
whereas a creator of habit is acting.
Yeah.
And so in my life, I used to think like you won some kind of cosmic lottery if you had things going well for you. I used to think that. And it was a lot of the programming I had grown up. It's like, oh, if we could win the lottery, we could have that. Or, we're just not those people or whatever. And it wasn't until I left home and went and served a mission, and I kind of broke away, and I started to see these patterns that started to evolve in front of me. I would see people that would be like really prolific, some that were jerks, some that were not. I saw some people that were really poor, and some that were awesome, and some that were like just were poor and just for the sake of whatever it was they were doing. And I saw these patterns that most of everything people were in, they had a mindset that led one way or another.
Absolutely.
And one of my favorite people in the category of being prolifically successful was like, choose what you want. And it was so weird. That to me was like such a novel concept. I was like, choose what you want? You mean like, I thought that something was going to choose from outer space or heaven or, the cosmos and tell me what was going to happen for my life. And that was kind of this light bulb moment where I was like, I'm going to choose. I'm going to choose. And that, look, if you want to be a chooser and a creator of habit, you also have to let go of perfectionism, because in the choosing, it gets to come to you in the most crazy, beautiful, awful, terrific, terrible ways. And when you let go of perfectionism, suddenly it comes to you, and it's either win or win bigger in that world. And so
I
that's
feel like we could just make you a meme. Like meme it and send it out into Facebook land and Instagram. And that was so prophetic right there. Like just
thank you.
the ability to see ourselves in the ability, not just to choose it, but then you act. So I know I could choose, I'm going to have this great day. Well, now I'm going to go make it a great day. Or I'm going to tell myself I'm not going to have a good day. Or this instant didn't happen right. So I'm going to either choose to stay in that or go change the day.
It's true.
We have so much power.
It's words create, they don't describe. And why do I keep saying that? It's because tax day was just upon us even
Yes,
on
it
the 15th.
was. Mm-hmm.
And in the past, I would joke around. My microphone's dropping here, so I'm going to pick
Okay.
it up.
You
Got
just-
it.
yeah. Okay.
I got it. Here we go.
Okay.
So in the past, I would joke that it was, legalized plundering or something
It
like
is.
that. Well,
You didn't hear that, Uncle Sam. IRS day.
So I decided this year I was going to create.
Okay.
And this was a fascinating experiment for me, because
Okay.
I really do grit my teeth through it sometimes. I have to go through a routine like on the 14th and 15th just to get through it. Okay, take a deep
The
breath.
mantra.
So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say, this is going to be a day in which I give through my civic duty. And when I do, this is what I created with my words this time. When I do, it's going to give me 10 times back. And I just said that. I wrote it in my journal. And then what do you know? The 15th was probably one of my favorite days. It doesn't matter.
Wow.
Because here's the thing. Who cares
Yeah.
if actually that happens? I don't even care. But you know what I care about? That day was a good day. It was my emotion.
Yes. Okay.
And isn't life really what we feel? That's what it is. So if I can change my emotion through the words I say, did I not just create my life?
You did.
Yeah.
That's good.
So when you decided to create and to act upon it as opposed to having it act upon you, was there something you did daily for a while until that became just really who you were?
Yeah, it's an evolution always. It's the biggest thing that's the golden thread is the desire to become. Like this desire to always allow myself to adapt and decide if I'm going to look for opportunities to learn and grow. That's probably the golden thread, because if you do that, then when you write in journal one way and it's like, you know what, I actually found a new way to write in the journal. And it's actually far less painful. But I used to be super disciplined. The sun went up, the sun went down. I think, Tara, you were telling me this.
That was
before.
me, yes.
Yeah.
I
So
had to do it this way, the checklist. Yep.
Yeah, and so I was like,
remember that.
I'm going to do that. And it was very painful because it was
Yep.
very rigid. And so then you develop and you're like, you know what? There's a space here where whatever circumstance is happening outside of me, I'm going to take that as a direct feedback loop of what I need to pay attention to. And so even being here with you guys, this is, when I live in the moment with you, it is literally creating new things for me in the moment. And I really believe that a person can create real time. So I take feedback in the environment and I'm creating real time. And this is a skill that I've had to develop. I'm with a group right now that's really helping me develop this, because I think skill sets are not the same thing as mindset, are not the same thing as tool set. The way I see it, you've got to expand your mindset big enough in an envelope. I've got my hands out wide right now to then contain the tool set that you start to gain. So not only do I have a belief in this stuff and whatever I can do or whatever we can do, but now I have tools that are starting to tell me I can do this. But you know as well as I do, have you ever owned a tool that you didn't know how to use?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you have that tool and it's sitting there.
Sure.
For me, it's a dishwasher, I think, or something,
Something.
But it's,
How do I work
the
this?
tool is there, but now you don't have the skill set. So I've been really, in this stage of my life, putting a lot of intention around developing skills to listen to the divine, to really hear and then to act, which I've always had a belief and I've always had some tools, but I didn't really like develop those skills. So your question of like, well, how do you do that? How do you become a creator of habit? Well, I would first of all look at the greatest creators of habit of eternity. That's the way I look at it. Like, I'm going to go straight to masters, whoever they are.
Yeah.
Whoever they are, whoever you get inspired by. And then I'm going to model, mimic, master, and multiply that.
That's good. Yeah. I mean, like even when I think of what you're saying and you want so badly for someone to gain a concept, and like you can teach it and teach it and teach it and teach it in several different ways. But if they're not willing to grasp it or take it or open up to like hear it, then you're just in a closed off setting. So I always also think I can't control other people. So if they're not on board with where I want to go to create, then that door has to close because it's not bringing me to where I need to go. So, and that's I would say that would be the tool that would be, because again, it's my checklist. My mindset is I have to have this done. I have to have this right. And if that's not going to let you fly or soar, I need to close that door so I can go, just go and do. So
I love
everything
that.
is going and doing. Like there's so much to say, but words don't matter unless there's actions behind it. I've learned that.
And what's something that's really cool about this era we're in with AI?
Okay.
It's fascinating learning. I remember a time when my knowledge was an edge. Like what I learned was an edge, because I put the time in to learn it, and then I could, maybe say, hey, this is what I know. This is who I can quote.
This is how I
this
did
is a
it.
book I read.
Yeah.
I remember that. It wasn't too long ago, maybe 5-10 years ago,
Sure.
where that was an era.
Sure.
But now you can say, if I was a master of the universe, what would I say about this? And boom.
There it is.
Yeah, there it is. And sometimes it's really profound. And so what you were saying, Tara, I don't think that a person can actually have an edge or really get away in this next era of our life without being. Like if you want to talk about, all these things, I'm not saying it's bad. We're talking here. It's creating.
Correct.
But we actually have to go and do
it.
And in fact, the next business leader apprenticeship, which is next Wednesday in my culture, interculture, we're talking about going from consumption to production.
Like it.
Yeah, so bad consumption, or we could call it bad consumption, but you're consuming stuff that's like fluffy. Like I'm not saying all Netflix, but some of it is.
Yeah, for sure.
And then you got to go to good consumption. So you got to start moving that ratio to like reading really, really good literature or talking good stuff. And then you got to move from good consumption to a higher level of ratio to production. And so we're going to be talking about how you move from consumption to production, because we have a head in the sky for a reason, feet on the ground to move, hands that reach out to other people, and a heart right in the center. And I think with all of that, these feet got to move.
Mm-hmm.
We got to,
And follow your heart.
and follow your heart right in the center of it all.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well said.
I have a question about what you do for your practices.
Mm-hmm.
I've been to a few different chiropractors, and the best one I'm at currently, and I don't see him all the time, but he has physical therapy in his office, and I've never seen that in any other place. How much are you still involved in the day-to-day aspect of that, as opposed to just running the empire? And how hard is it to maybe not do what you did before, or do you get something more out of it by just leading?
Yeah. Yeah, back in the day, I would see like 100 patient visits a week, and it was a lot. And then I would go to the family reunion, and I'd be standing in line to get the potato salad and chicken. And I would literally get Uncle Joe coming over and saying, my back hurts, and I would get...
I knew this was coming.
You know it was coming.
Before you even said it,
And
I'm like,
I got
someone's
this
going to
thing.
ask you to be like, no
Yeah.
potato salad. Come help me with my back.
Yeah, it's true. Like I would never eat at those things, but it was just like my elbow hurts and I have this thing in my throat, and I'm like, I don't deal with throats. Doesn't matter. I'm going to talk to you about it.
I didn't get into pediatrician for a reason.
Yeah. I'm not a proctologist, so
There
don't
you go.
ask me. But
Did I tell you I switched to farming? I started farming last week.
So over time, I began to enjoy. So my mind would, when I was working with patients, I noticed my mind would drift off to how do I create a system that can replicate this? And so I was oftentimes torn. And so I really couldn't wait to start to offload some of the patient care so I could develop systems and develop leadership training and that kind of stuff. And so that happened over a period of about 10 years. And now I see a patient about every 6 weeks formally. But informally, one of my favorite things to do is just pro bono care. Somebody comes up, my back hurts, I like to just be like, poof, you're healed,
Wow.
I truly, I love it, yeah.
Everyone's like, Stretch, did you hear that? He's doing pro bono work.
Just
Everyone's
yesterday.
like, only 21 clinics available to you. Run.
That's right. So I had somebody with neck pain. She woke up and she was like, oh my gosh, I can't move my neck. And we did some work, and I called her today. It's her birthday today. I called her up and she's like, pain gone. And it's fun to be able to do like just pro bono because I want to keep my mind sharp on it. But I don't prefer to go in the clinic anymore to do patient care. I like to do. I have 3 other businesses besides Wright Physical Therapy, and one of them is to teach young CEOs how to do a business like what I've done or better. And so a lot of times people are like, I don't have the money to start a business and I don't have the know-how. So I'm like, look, I'll give you the money, I'll give you the know-how, and I'll be a partner with you, because a true mentor to me is somebody who doesn't just teach but cares about how you do. So I was like, look, I'm not just going to teach you. Don't pay me to teach you. How about we partner? I'll become part of this with you. So it's like reverse venture capital, where I invest in the person, not in the business. So I'll put money into a person. I'll say, goal number 1, let's make $1 million a year in annual income for you. Goal number 2, which we're not going to talk about if you can't even fathom 1.
Sure.
But there's 2 and there's 3 and there's 4. And if you want to learn how to get to 4 and 5 and 6, let's get to 1. You got to catch good to catch great. I'm trying to give you meme material here.
I like this.
You got to catch good
Yeah, I
to
think
catch
this
great.
is good. Push this replay, pause, go backwards, say it again, put it into chat GPT and put it out there.
So it's almost like Shark Tank.
I was just
going to
say that.
where you've kind of take them in.
I'll give you 20%. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if you want me to have 50% of your business, or it's going to cost $200 for working capital and materials or whatever, then if you don't have 200,000 and you can come up with say 100, then I'll put the other 100 and we'll own that equity equally, and I'll show you how to make a much bigger pie, and then I'll be there with you. It's fun.
I think, Brian, I'll fill out your paperwork and you can maybe get chosen to be on Shark Tank.
Yes.
I'll do your paperwork.
I think
So
I'll be that friend. I'll be
this
like,
works out for
yeah,
me.
he got it. He got in. And you're going to be like, who just sent that in? Just fake it. Say you did it. You just have to take a 500 level class.
Will you come and do the pitch? You'd be good.
Yes.
You just say, look, first, before we do any of this,
yes.
I've got some baseball nut ice cream for everybody to
I
try.
will. I will say, you want to invest in ice cream for breakfast? Because who wouldn't?
Who would not?
So we were talking about Warren Buffett. Was that before or
No,
after
right here.
after we started the
thumbs up.
the dry thumb?
Dry thumb business.
So you probably have a pretty diversified portfolio.
Portfolio.
Yeah, I do.
With that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably great. I think I would.
Well, it's
I
funny
would
because
think it'd be
the
fun to do
Oracle of
that.
Omaha himself says, which is Warren Buffett, he says, everybody says, don't put all your eggs in one basket. But I say, why not put all your eggs in one basket and watch that basket very closely? So my diversification is in the synergy of the businesses. So like PT, all of my real estate is physical therapy rented back to myself. Because I would pay, just as an example, I remember the first time I opened a clinic, I was like, well, the tenant improvements are like $80,000 and that's burned into my landlords.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I got to drop 80,000 from my company to that.
Yes.
Well, I found out there was cool programs that allowed me to put 10% down. And I was like, well,
Sub out your own.
I'll do 50,000. I'll own the equity of it.
Yep.
And then I'll have that. And then I'll have 7, 8, 9, 10% cash flow on it. And since I don't have to have a manager because my people are working in the clinics, well, I've already saved 8 to 10% on that because there's no need for management. I don't have to have tenants coming and going.
Correct.
So I would just make 7, 8, 9% cash flow. And then I would take that cash flow and roll it into the next investment, and it would start snowballing. And then before I knew it, then my company would have lower rents because the overhead was so low.
Yeah.
So it was like this win-win-win all the way around.
As you
and
said,
it was
eggs
magical.
in one basket.
Yeah.
I look right. You don't know what I'm looking at, but in our office right now, we have 20,000 Easter eggs and the boxes are right behind Bryan. I'm like, oh, the eggs are all in one corner of the office.
That's funny.
For the Easter egg hunts coming up in April. So sorry, I had to say that. It's like
No,
a great
you
image
had to.
right behind here.
You had to.
But that's impressive because I do think there's people, right? Just like the landlords, and I work with them as well. And they're thinking this is what has to happen for that lease rate to come in. And like, I could do it too. And I think that's also another mindset is you can have a growth mindset over a fixed mindset. And the difference of that is I could do it too. You know, yes. And we had another guest that she's very motivational, and I've thought of her often when I'm like, yes, and instead of, but I can't, you know, and so I think that we tell ourselves.
I had a coach this morning that I was talking to, Tara and Kevin, and he was talking to me about the power of the unconscious mind.
Okay.
And
I'm curious.
Oh.
Does he want to be on my podcast?
You know, it's funny.
We should have him come.
He did tell me today.
Okay.
He did say if you have people that need to know this, I'd be happy to. He's from Utah.
Okay.
But you can still have him on.
I guess we'll let a Utahn come to Idaho.
Yes.
Burn. Is that a funny button?
So he was telling me, okay, the way I'm thinking of this story is when I did my first building for Dry Thumb Properties, I did not know what I was doing. I didn't know what I had a hunch, but I was really sort of this, like, I would just kind of like,
You were green.
I just listened to what I felt intuitively, and I would ask questions to my creator. That's just how it was. And I would just kind of get this hunch, okay, do this. But I didn't know what I was doing. And anyway, turns out that after I saw how it worked, I was like, that was really cool. Well, that's a good signifier that growth mindset will lead you to something that sometimes you didn't think would work out. And or like I didn't have formal education in that, but now I'm formally educating because I now understand it.
Yeah.
So he was telling me a story this morning. He's like, you know, the power of the unconscious is you don't have to know everything. In fact, the conscious mind only processes at 126 bits per second.
The unconscious mind.
The conscious with a
mind.
C.
Okay, thank you.
126 bits per second. That's like looking through a small sliver
Okay.
and trying to see everything through it. And yet we do this quite a bit. As humans, we try to fix. And what happens? Overwhelm, stress. And that's a really good signifier whenever you're overwhelmed and stressed that you've been doing too much work in the physical, overcompensating for work that is not being done in the non-physical, which could be mental creation mindset. It could be words that speak power. It could be a lot of stuff, journaling. But there's more to it than that. But that's just
interesting.
I think most people understand that. So the unconscious mind, there's a lot of estimates out there, but anywhere from 11 million to 20 million bits per second. So mathematically, if you just take 12 million, let's just say that's where we land, and 120 bits per second, that's 100,000 to 1 ratio. So if the unconscious mind is the power of 100,000 employees and your CEO of your life enterprises is you, your conscious mind, Tara. Some people would call it ego. It's like how you identify yourself. You're the CEO of your life through the conscious mind. You just tell those 100,000 workers how to go. You tell them that you're going to be fabulous, gorgeous, brilliant, talented. Those workers are going to go 365, 24/7. Now, what happens when there's some workers at the water cooler that are talking smack? Because you plugged them in. You know what I'm saying?
just told them to get back to work.
Yeah, but they never stop working. They're working, but they're at the water cooler spreading doubt. They're like, hey, you're not really
quite
capable
that
of that.
great.
So it's
You
really
might
important.
fail if you try it that way.
Yeah, and so you have to fire those workers.
Fire them.
And there's a way to do that. And so he was telling me this. He's like, one of my favorite movies is Dumb and Dumber because these guys are like, they're
One in a billion.
So these guys are going to, and
best
this
part of the
phrase that
movie.
has come
I
up
hope you
literally
say it.
5,000 times
I
this
hope you
week
say
is, well, big gulps, huh? You know?
Yes.
Yeah. So these guys are going through life, just dancing through life.
Yep.
And they're clearly unaware of how they've gotten from point A to point Z to where they finally have a bus full of beautiful women. And they're not dead. And he's like, isn't that funny that they didn't know what they were doing, but they were just allowing things to roll? And I think sometimes to a lot of people, that's like, well, you're asking me to give up control over something. And it's like, yep. One of the greatest things I've ever learned to do is to trust. Trust what? Well, I've got to have a good enough design that I'm wanting to trust in. But once I've designed it, stop trying to control every little part of it. Let it unfold. There's magic in receiving.
That be still part.
There it is. It's be still. It is. It's, there's like two parts to this magic is ask, receive. But really, the part that people forget is the receive, which is what word would I associate with receive? And to me, trust. Trust. There's been some crazy stuff where I'm like, how did that happen? How did I open my first clinic? How did February 13th, 2008, the guy who now I'm neighbors with in Nampa, come to me and say, we're going to sell this clinic to you for your equity in the company and blah, 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 blah. And the next day I have 17 new patients.
That's amazing.
How does that stuff happen? Yeah. Trust. And some people are like, I have trusted and that doesn't do it for me. But I think that the beauty of it is once you do trust, you have to give up perfectionism and let it unfold. And then some things start to happen. But when we take control in our conscious mind, it starts to get a little bit haywire at times. Because you're not supposed to, as a CEO, go take over the computer of somebody and say, I'm going to do your work for you. Because if you do, things get really jammed up.
Well, and then I also think, trust you. Because sometimes we can't control the people at the water cooler or those that are talking that we're going to do this, we're going to do this. But I think there's a lot to be said with trusting yourself. And I know that even the doubts will come into my mind often, something new, something different. But I know who I am. I know what I'm capable of. And then I like to execute. I know how it feels to finish. And I mean, for example, like running forever, I like to run. So sometimes I use I made it through that marathon. That was super hard.
Oh, cool.
And then I have a friend that reminded me of that. She's amazing. And she's like, don't you ever forget you did that marathon. And then you're like, oh yeah, you can keep going. Like I trust myself to finish this race or whatever the situation is.
How many marathons have you run?
I've only done one. One marathon and several halves. Halves are my go-to. I feel like I have the time to do halves more than I have for the time training for a full.
What is the story of marathon? The soldier had to run 26.2 miles and then died.
Yeah, I'm not going to die.
So yeah,
mine's a half. Halves are my favorite. 13. I just did one last October. I did a few races last year. Life was a little crazy last year. So
did you do a few half marathons? Oh, that's cool.
I did. Yeah, I did.
So for my oldest daughter's senior trip, she wanted to go run a half marathon, and I'm like, where do you want to go? And she's
a high school girl.
She was.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she's older now. She's in college. Yeah, she did. And so we were trying to choose between 4 or 5 different places that we could do it. And she's like, why not do all of them? Jokingly.
Wow.
And I always have this philosophy that if something scares me, I lean into it. So we did week after week after week after week half marathons, which I'm not.
Wow.
And I had a torn Achilles too. And so.
Okay, that's enough to stop you.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Achilles. But you have the magic. PT, this is what you do to it, right?
So we made it through.
Tape and tape.
We did it.
You did 5 half marathons.
Well, it was really 4, and then it was climb Mount Bora. So.
Oh, that's cool. That is cool.
You need to check out Mina Gooley. Do you know her?
The name's very familiar.
She does the marathons for water. She runs for awareness for water, and she's got a fascinating story. If you ever,
Mina
Yeah,
Gulli,
we
I'll
saw
check it out.
her
Yeah.
website, right? She had a
yeah,
website.
she's Australian, but I think
Mhm.
lives in China. She's an
Mhm.
attorney.
Really,
But
really
she's got a
cool.
fascinating story.
Well, and I don't want to overshoot
No,
what you were saying.
no,
what you were
not at
saying
all.
about remembering,
Yeah.
like who you are. A quick quip
Mhm.
is that we have two thinking minds. We have the spontaneous thinker and we have the deliberate thinker. And the spontaneous thinker, you've heard people say, "You are not your thoughts." It's like these thoughts that pop into your head, and 90% of those or more, it's not a real percentage, by the way. It's just a lot of them. These thoughts tend to be negative in nature or away from, quote unquote, away from. Like, I don't want to have poverty, or I don't want to be, alone or lonely, or they're away from, or like, I'm afraid of this. I am anxious of this. And so the deliberate thinker has the potential to actually intercede and say, well, I'm going to take over here. And that is where you have power as a man or a woman. We have the ability to deliberately think. And when people take that and understand it, that loops back around to creator of habit. The spontaneous thinker is very deceptive. It just kind of throws anything at you and lets you see which ones you want to stick. So I would just say doubt your doubts,
There you
believe your
go.
beliefs.
There you go.
Because belief is an installation tool inside of the unconscious, and doubt is an extraction tool.
Interesting.
Yeah, so if you doubt something with
Yeah.
frequency and intensity, if you doubt it, you pull it out.
Yeah.
So doubt can be good. If you doubt your doubts, that's two negatives that makes a what?
That makes it a positive. Get rid of it.
If you believe your beliefs, that's two positives. What if you
Keep it.
doubt your beliefs? That's a negative.
That's a
What
problem.
if you believe your doubts? That's a negative.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a
Good math problem.
yeah.
I mean, a good way to show a math problem.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, for you mathematicians out there.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm from Hawaii County. You just went kind of over my head a little bit there, but we're
Well.
good.
Kevin.
I know.
So I need that button again.
Here, should we get
That
you
was
some
great.
ice cream?
You do.
Yeah, just have some ice cream.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That was good.
No, it was great. It's just interesting to hear you talk, because I think that I have gone through times when I doubt myself. And I'll share this, and I don't think I've told you this. Maybe I've told you this story. I used to be the guy that my sister would say, "Kevin, you got to come over because I need somebody to laugh. I need somebody to make me laugh." And I just was at her house within the last year, and her neighbor came over and she said, "Yeah, this is Kevin. He's my really quiet brother." And something changed in me over a number of the last 10 years. And I had to try to figure out, like, what is it about me that's changed? And I need to become more outgoing and be more of a creator. And so it's been a struggle at times.
I love what you said there, though, because sometimes you can get a program in your mind or in your beingness that's installed from somebody else. It can be well-meaning. It can be nefarious. Doesn't matter. What we get to choose is whether we keep them or get rid of them. So, I've just always been the type of person that one of the things I try and teach my team is make a list of 10 I am statements. I, which is conscious, am, which is unconscious. Make a list of 10 of those and make them positive. And then anything that makes you feel like, I say I am ripped as a 47-year-old, right? Like, something about that feels resistant. We can work in that area to resolve the resistance. And then you can just have that I am statement, because at the core of most people's life story is their identity. Their identity. So if you identify a certain way, it's really remarkable how people can go through all of their life with an identity that it has nothing to do with who they are. It's just who they chose.
I agree.
And so they're like thinking they're describing their situation,
Right.
when in reality they're creating it.
Yeah.
That's a hard thing for us sometimes
Or
to
what we
swallow.
call as situational versus our ability to make it different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And like what we said earlier, like the farm, like I know for sure, like I think I was, and I might be wrong, but my grandmother was the one that was like, I'm the only one in my family that went to college. She went to a 2-year college to be a music teacher. And so she always inspired me to go to college. And not that this was a while ago, so I don't necessarily believe this now. I think it's very different. But I remember just thinking, oh, like someone is talking to me about something I knew I wanted to do,
Mm-hmm.
but I wasn't getting it from like the origin, my family of origin. And so when I remember applying for college, I was like, okay, here I go. I hope I can make it, instead of just, I'm going to make it. Like, I know it's what I want to do. So I look at things, you know, you can go back and be like, oh yeah, I did that. And I think we are a lot more capable, and we have made ourselves who we are. And it's always never too late to just keep changing, because we do get situational, and we do have things that come up, which life happens. And so you
It's
get to
amazing.
choose how to make life happen.
Yeah,
And
that
it
was
can
cool.
be good. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. That was
Yeah.
really cool.
I want to know,
Inspiring.
do you rub the business into your mom's face now and say, I can be a business owner?
No.
She probably just had like a worry. Like,
She
I
does.
know how that feels. Like, you're like, I just want you to be successful. And these are
Yeah.
a lot of people.
My mother, she has selective amnesia, like a lot of us do sometimes. And so her selective amnesia is, if I were to tell her that, she would go, oh, no, I did not do that. Brian
Sweet.
Douglas Wright, you stop.
She didn't say Jeremiah. She
Just
said-
Jeremiah. No, that would be my other favorite. No, my mother, she would be like, I never said that. I always believed in you. And she does, you know,
Yeah, she does.
she calls me her golden child. If my siblings are listening, she does. She calls
Oh,
me her golden child.
if they're listening.
Yeah,
Got
yeah.
it. That's cute. She's fun.
That's an I am statement.
Mhm.
I am
I am
her golden child.
her golden child.
Why not?
Well,
But before, will you tell us a little bit about Wise University? Like,
Wise
what
University.
part of that is your,
Mhm.
I guess, portfolio?
Portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So part of teaching is trying to take things that you say over and over again and say, okay, I know this question comes up a lot. How do I organize an operating agreement? How do I, prepare job descriptions? Whatever. How do I do marketing? How do I do finance? How do I do operations or or team building? And so I created Wise University to handle the different organization structures within a business. My belief is that success in life and business is about 70-80% psychology, about 20 to 30% mechanics. So Wise University does a lot of mindset stuff, but then it throws in the mechanics too of business. And so we're just wrapping up probably 300-400 videos and just answering questions through video formats so that people can get a sense of, how do I build a business, or how do I do this thing inside of a business, or how do I lead in this area? And it's just been fun for me. The reason I called it Wise University is because there's so much knowledge out there, and knowledge is really, really abundant. I mean, it's everywhere.
It is. Yeah.
The question that I have is, how can we turn that to wisdom? And so I created Wise University to say, okay, great. You probably know a lot of stuff. I do too. But what really makes it come to life? And that's what Wise University was created for. And we're starting to, a lot of people are just like, do you mind sitting down and helping me build my business? And it's a good starting point. And that allows me to then enter in and supplement the pieces that.
So is it like you're the business coach?
Mhm.
Would you call yourself you
I
are
would
their
say-
coach?
Yeah, I would say mentor, just because.
A mentor. Okay.
Yeah, I think a mentor collapses time. That's what I always tell people is like
Okay.
a mentor. Can you do this stuff on your own? Absolutely. Is it going to take you 10, 20 years? Maybe. What if it could take you 1 to 2 years?
Correct.
It took me, I don't know how long to get to this level. And you can just draft off me. As a runner, you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
You can just draft off me. And so I can collapse time, or somebody help me collapse time. And so Wise University is meant to not only mentor, but I am the guy that does most of the videos, which
So
is,
it's an online tool that people can
yeah, they
take
can
it
subscribe
into
to
and
it.
subscribe and then watch. Okay.
We haven't opened it up yet for subscriptions, but gosh, we're
Okay.
very close.
Okay.
So Wise University is that tool that I can say, yeah, here's a tool for you to use. And it's at a fraction of if I were to sit in front of you.
And it works.
I really believe it works magic. In fact, I talked to 3 of my CEOs that I partnered with.
Okay.
And they just told me today, all 3 of them, they were like, this literally has been life-changing, because one of the things that I try and emphasize is, if you're going to start a business in this particular question that you're asking, then let it be lifestyle congruent. A lot of times people will start a business and then their lives revolve around the business. And that's just, I'm like, no, we're not going to engineer your business that way. We're going to engineer your business to have you and your family or whatever it is that you want for your life at the center, and the business will revolve around you.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you engineer something that way, you're creating it the way you want to, it can actually really flow a lot better. And it's look, these are all ideals, I understand. There's always bumps in the road along the way.
Sure.
But if you can start off on a much better foundation, how much better is the building, you know?
Right.
And so it's a really solid foundation.
That's important. That's important.
Is there an owl in your logo for Wise University?
Initially,
Because there should be
there was.
With glasses? Would you put sunglasses on him?
a little monocle.
Ooh, yeah, just one.
Like,
That's right.
Like the Planner's Peanut guy.
Oh, we already
Yeah.
have that one taken. We can't be
No.
a copycat.
No, an
No.
owl.
So,
That's true.
so I actually started
Wise.
to get some ideas on Wise. This is a fun story for me, is that the owl was the first thing I saw in my head, which is apparently very obvious.
How fun. I'm curious. So you both saw owls. You want to hear what I saw? Light bulbs.
Okay, hold on.
Light
I'm not
bulbs.
done.
Light bulbs.
Oh, that's fun. I'm not done
Okay,
yet.
okay.
So then it evolved to a lion.
Oh, okay.
Like a lion, like
Go
just
Bora.
with a huge, and then it finally evolved to a gas lamp.
A
like,
gas
or like,
lamp.
like a nice light
Like an oil
post.
lamp.
Yeah.
Oh,
like-
no, not the old-fashioned oil lamps.
No, not old fashioned. No. Well,
Like
it's
a post
a
light.
post. Mhm.
Okay, light post.
And so it has this light post, and
Okay.
it's just like beaming light. And I
Okay.
really love the logo. I'm a logo connoisseur.
Oh, I like it. I was going to say guru, but you took connoisseur. That's much
Connoisseur.
better.
Oh, Guru's good
Guru,
too.
yeah. So you make the logos or develop?
I'm not a graphic
Okay.
designer. I just see the vision in my head
And deliver
and
it.
I say,
Go back
this is
to
what-
AI.
Mhm.
AI
Yeah, we
does some
found some
crazy
good,
stuff.
Good pictures. It's amazing.
Well,
Well, now the big fad right now, I don't know if you guys have seen it everywhere, but lots of our employees and here at Homes of Idaho, but we're making our real estate action figure. So you can do that on AI
Oh,
right now,
yeah.
and everyone's posting them. It's kind of fun.
I've seen about 100 of those in the last
Yeah,
day.
we're totally doing them. It's like, hey, Tara
Have you seen-
Chase,
have
and
you
you
seen
put
these?
a Jeep. I want me to be holding a water bottle. I want my smartwatch on, and then I want my backpack. And anyway, they make you into this toy.
oh,
Have you seen
awesome. You
Have
have
you
to
seen
try
these on
it.
Facebook or whatever?
Seen 'em,
Yeah, it's like the fad of the week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to try it if you haven't tried it. You don't have to post yours
I'm
if you don't
afraid
want
what it
to.
would show up like.
Yours might be out of the box.
Boink.
You fit the very box. They'll
Yeah.
have to enlarge the box. I'm kidding. That's awesome.
Coming out of my spaceship.
You can put in there how tall you want, because one of my coworkers put her height a lot higher just so we could see what it looked like. It was awesome.
Game changer.
Yeah, you can make yourself whatever you want with AI. I didn't say it was the truth. I said you can do it.
So you are the creator.
There you go. You can make your own AI toy, hero toy. Well, gosh, this is awesome. Thank you so much for coming all the way
Yeah.
from Twin Falls for us.
It's been a pleasure. You guys, we're already best friends here. We're
Yeah.
sharing
We'll
ice
have to
cream.
have you guys come back. Like we can get more people and have a follow-up story. That'd be cool.
Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for
I'd
inviting
love
me.
to have you.
And good luck with everything. And in Wise University, everybody, if they're interested, should kind of keep their eyes open
A
for.
way to reach me for Wise University is through my wrightpt.com. So you'll
Okay.
just find me. I'm pretty easy to access through my email, brian@wrightpt.com. So BRYAN at Wright, WRIGHT, as in Paul and Tom.com.
Okay. And if you want Bryan to do any pro bono work,
Yeah.
feel free to email him at
Yeah.
that email.
Or
hunt
just
him down
find
at
me
the
at
mall.
find me at the potato salad.
Just don't
line.
ask. Yeah, potato salad,
I
and
got this thing.
don't ask him about torn Achilles tendons.
all of a sudden, you have like new relatives show up that you never knew you had, and they're just
Yes.
He's like, oh, are you only Idaho? All 21 clinics are in Idaho?
Well,
We didn't ask that question.
no, Logan, Utah is another one.
Okay.
And then I have 6 other clinics throughout Arizona and Utah, St. George, Salt
Okay.
Lake with my partners through the other company, which is called
Sure.
Pilot North.
Pilot
So
North.
that's the one where I help young entrepreneurs really kind of like develop their dreams around their life, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And Wise University tacks on to that.
Well, you're very inspirational. Thank you
Oh,
so
you
much for
too.
sharing.
yeah. Thanks for
You
coming.
We're
guys- Thank you.
excited. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, that's a wrap. Enjoy that rest of your baseball nut ice cream. It might be a milkshake now.
Right.
Very cool. All right, signing off.